Hi everyone, it's Bryan here. The mic quality sounds different because I want to try out this microphone, which is also coming from a new pair of headphones I got. I'm going to demonstrate and illustrate to you, the viewer, how and when to tell if someone is either losing the argument or has lost the plot entirely. Firstly, let's start with signs that someone is losing the argument. There are 8 of them. Number 1, your opponent starts throwing useless insults at you ad nauseum. 2, your opponent starts ignoring your counter-arguments or counter-responses by going after pettier and pettier things, such as a minor grammar or spelling error. Number 3, your opponent is starting to gaslight you into conceding to them without having demonstrated a valid reason why you should concede to them in the first place. Number 4, your opponent is starting to just make shit up about you, believe in absolute falsehoods about you, and thus begins to slander you. Number 5, your opponent begins to act more and more irrationally, talking over you, constantly interjecting at the wrong time, and shouting over you, to name a few. Number 6, your opponent begins to use ad hominem attacks and repetitive retorts that have no relevancy, bearing, or adds no value to the overall conversation. Number 7, your opponent, knowing that they're absolutely screwed or screwed up on this one, decides to either abuse their platform by kicking you out if it's a live stream or voice chat debate on Discord, or even worse than that, dying on their own hill and rage quitting as a result, to name a couple. And finally, number 8, your opponent has lost all their sanity and character and starts rage deleting their existence on the internet, or does it years after the fact, to name a couple of examples of when the last resort fails. These 8 signs are very common, but only comes with time, the natural progression of the argument / conversation, and the drama that will develop afterwards. The next 4 things will demonstrate themselves as signs that your opponent has not only lost the argument, but lost the complete and entire fucking plot. Let's continue with signs that someone has lost the plot entirely, shall we? Number 1, drama begins to fester. Your opponent, among others, decide to openly rebel and lash out against anyone that disagrees with their false narratives, or false narrative if it's singular. Number 2, things could escalate, leading to the following to occur: doxing, swatting, mass flagging campaigns, cyberbullying, harassment, and even crazier, deplatforming. 3, you could possibly face death threats, someone trying to get you fired from your job, someone trying to ruin your life, and someone trying to destroy your family, to name a few examples. And finally, number 4, after all the drama blows over and everybody moves on, it does numbers on your mental, physical health, and even the way you cope with trauma in general, as if any other prior traumatic event hasn't occurred already. So now here's the rant. After I've just demonstrated 12 signs of both when your opponent lost the argument and when they lost the fucking plot entirely. I've had it happen to me before. Not the doxing part, not the swatting part, not even the mass flagging part, but cyberbullying and an almost attempt to get people to mass flag my accounts back in 2019. All of those failed to prove me wrong and keep me silent on the topic that I was most known for and passionate about. So here's a tip for anyone seeking to debate anyone on anything. Don't, when you know there could be possible risks to your online presence, reputation, livelihoods, and even lives. You have to be very, very careful on what you do so you don't piss the wrong people off, or else they'll ruin your fucking life, fuck you up, or even try to convince you to kill yourself when you shouldn't. It is that fucked up. And I know, because eventually I'm going to start talking about how YouTube commentary should be better in general, and then I'll move on to other topics. And I'm also going to have to move on from talking about predator hunters in general and bashing them for what they think they're doing, which they're not. And the last thing I'm talking about, soon enough when I get to record it, is how these vigilante predator hunters online and IRL in these groups have little to no positive impact and far more negative impact than even the private investigators and police officers they shit on so much. But until then, that's the end of the video. I'm Bryan Mullins the Fox signing out. Sorry that the microphone kinda sounds like shit, but I'm trying something new, alright? You can thank me later. Bye.